Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time it is you are watching this session of the Initiates, this episode, this message. I want to welcome everyone to the Initiates. If this is your first time tapping in, welcome. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're back. And if this is not your first time, thank you for returning. To all of my returning listeners, viewers, watchers. My name is Yaya, the Spiritual Doula, and I am here to bring a message, or not even a message. I'm just here to share something with you. It's been a minute since I've been able to get on here and do the Initiates. The thing about, being an initiate or being a self-initiate into the deep waters of spirituality, if you want to call it, is you oftentimes have to kind of pull away and unplug a lot. It causes you to have to unplug yourself. And I had to unplug, and these moments where I have to unplug, they kind of come and go. Well, they come a lot easier and a lot, less conscious. I'm less conscious of when, and it's not like I'm choosing to say, oh, let me just not do nothing and not, share with the people and not tap in. It just happens, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of on autopilot, I guess. But coming out of the unplug is even harder for me. It's something I have to make an effort to do, because I do enjoy my quiet, peaceful time. But a lot of times I'm finding that the plugging back in to things is harder for me, and usually when it gets harder for me to do that, I'm starting to recognize, y'all forgive my voice, I'm literally just waking up at 6:40 in the morning where I am right now, so my voice is still in the basement, but it'll come up, don't worry, just hold on. But if I'm even on here that long. But coming out of the unplug is when I started seeing red flags that there's some other energies, because when it's not easy for me to plug back into all of the things that I am spiritually responsible to do, I get worried, because I'm wondering, why am I having a hard time plugging back in? And but nevertheless, I received some download last night before I laid down to go to bed, and I did a reading on myself, and the mother and the ancestors and everybody was available to help me uncode and unlock and see what was going on with me. Has been going on with me for the last 2 weeks, because they had been telling me, okay, all right, the unplug is over, time to go back, time to plug back in. And I was like, really? I don't know. I don't know. That's what I want to do. But that I don't know was coming from another place. And so, definitely want to share a little bit about that this morning, today, tonight, whenever you're watching this, So again, welcome to the Initiates. The Initiates is a place where we can come and share our experiences, as we're experiencing things, different things, vast amounts of things, in this spiritual awakening, this spiritual deep dive that we are going through, spiritual evolution and things like that. It is a place for the self-initiated, but it is a place for all, for anyone who wants to tap in, if you are self-initiated or not. But I speak from I speak from the place of a self-initiated person, so a lot of things that I'm going to say will be in reference to that. But welcome to everyone, no matter your gender, your race, your religious affiliations, or anything of that sort. And welcome to those of you who are self-initiating. Okay, so like I said, I have been unplugged for about 2.5 weeks, maybe even 3. I'll be losing count, but I could tell when it's been a long time. That's the point that matters. But I had unplugged, and I will do that periodically. So if you don't hear from me for a while, you don't see any new content up, just know that this channel, I can't speak for any other channels who produce content based on spirituality, but this channel, you really need to understand that I am 99% spirit being and 1% human. So I really move that way. It's best for me to move that way. It works well for me to move that way. And so, yeah, you may come on and it may be 2-3 weeks, but this is what the notification bell is really good for. So if you haven't taken time to hit the notification bell, let me again admonish you to do so. Go ahead and do it right now so you won't forget while we get into this little conversation with each other. But yeah, hit the notification bell so you'll know when I have come out of my cave, so to speak. Anyway, so I had been, unplugged for like 2 or 3 weeks, and after when it first started, I was like, oh God, here we go again, because I just wasn't feeling up to sharing or doing anything. We have the Mother's Daughters ITV here, and I have several different playlist things that I share with humanity, as the Mother has given me the spiritual gifts and intuitiveness and all of these things to do so. You know what I'm saying? And so I had been feeling like doing anything, and I kind of get a little nervous when I get to feeling like that, because as we are in Virgo season, I don't know if you knew this or whatever, but we are in Virgo season. I am a Virgo, and that hermit mode be strong on us. It be strong. We will go into hermit mode, honey. You got to almost put a rope around our waist to snatch us up out of there, and I was feeling it. I was like, okay, here we go. I wanna make sure that I'm showing up in the spaces that I'm supposed to show up in. But at the same time, I do understand that downtime is needed and necessary, and it's perfectly okay, right? The issue the spirit and the ancestors and everybody that walk with me be having with me is when I go into hermit mode, I'm not so quick to come out after I have heard to come out. I really enjoy my private time, and I really enjoy staying to myself, but at the same time, you have these callings and these responsibilities, and with all humility, I'm like, okay, I'll go back. I'm gonna go back on, and I'm getting downloads, I'm getting beautiful messages and things that I could share, and I just don't feel physically up to it. I don't feel mentally clear. I just don't feel ready. And the fact of the matter is that is okay too. Okay? Because even in delaying something, there's a lesson to be learned. And if you seek spirit and your ancestors and your spirit guides to help you understand better why you feel the way you do, and not just wallow in it, and not just sit stubbornly and sit there and just be stubborn like a billy goat, but I recognize that I was fighting it, and my question was not really so much as to why am I in the hermit mode. My question is, why don't I want to come out? why I heard y'all 2 weeks ago tell me to come out. I heard you. But why don't I want to come out? I peeked out for a little bit. I think I dropped one video on the sacred empowerments of the divine feminine. You're welcome to go and check that out. Please do so. And then I kind of went back in and I was like, yeah, nope, not ready. I have recorded things and have not edited them down and posted them up. It's like I just get into this space where I don't want to participate. And when I get like that, I have a conversation with them and ask them, where is it coming from? Because sometimes as empaths, we can become heavy in our spirit and cluttered in our minds. Sometimes even the downloads we receive from spirit can be heavy. Okay? It can be heavy. And so I was doing my spiritual rituals and taking my cleanses and, moving energy and so on and so forth. But I still had this lingering sense of, I don't want to. And so finally last night I sat down and I said, what is going on with me? Because usually when I get like this, there is some interference. And I wanted to know if the interference was me, coming from me, or if there was some foreign interference going on that I needed to address. But nevertheless, I did a reading and got the messages that I needed. And this has everything to do with what I want to share on this particular episode of The Initiates, this particular conversation. I don't even know where to really start, but when you are purposed, when you have purpose, right? When you have a purpose that you need to see through to the end, when you have a purpose, you want to call it a calling on your life, if you want to call it an anointing, whatever you want to call it, but it's something you're purposed to do, right? And you are a highly spiritually intuitive being. You walk, talk, breathe, eat, sleep, and shit spirituality. You're a spiritualist, right? There are times where you have to go in concerning the purpose specifically, not your spirituality, not your spiritual practice. Now it happens over there too, but I'm not speaking about that today. I'm talking specifically about towards the thing you're purposed to do, the service you are here to give to other human beings so that they can continue to grow spiritually or in whatever arena, right? That purpose, especially if it's deeply connected to your spiritual, you often have to go in for a realignment, right? You often have to have these seasons of readjustment, realignment, and you're never at a place where you rank so high in the spirit, in spiritual things, in spiritual understanding, in spiritual power, in spiritual, anything of that sort. You never rank so high to where you don't need periodically to go into spirit for a readjustment. And what they gave me last night and what they've been giving me for the last 2.5, almost, it might actually, if I count the 1 week that I did, it's been about 3 weeks, if not 4, to be honest. What they've been giving me for the last 3 weeks, and they have to do this with me periodically, is they have to realign me. Okay? They have to readjust me to the purpose. Because and this is very, very, very powerful. We have to remember the dual nature of ourselves. And this is something I really have to work to remember. Okay? Because I wasn't exaggerating when I said that my consciousness and I am 99% spiritual and 1% human. But that 1% human matters. This is not saying that I'm not walking around here like Wonder Woman or nothing like that. But what I'm saying is I'm talking about my consciousness and how I move about and take in information from the world and the reality around me. Everything that I see, I funnel through spirit first. That is, I think from that perspective first. I make decisions from that perspective first. I consult spirit always in everything. Ancestors always in everything. I look at the world from a spiritual perspective first, because I'm a spiritualist and a self-initiated spiritualist, which means I have the world is my teacher. So I kind of have to pay attention in school, right? So, with that being said, they were reminding me last night that you have to remember your dual nature, no matter how big or small one side of the scale is. And because if you don't remain conscious of both sides, then one side becomes imbalanced, right? I said, okay. So when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to your spiritual path, when it comes to your spiritual evolution, when it comes to your callings, your predestinations to do certain things, whatever those things are, everybody's things are different that they're called to, right? But there are times where spirit will call you in for a realignment and a readjustment. And the last 3 weeks, unbeknownst to me, I just thought it was a period for me to just take some time, take some time. I wasn't trying to take 3 weeks. But over the course of the 3 weeks, I had been feeling a bit squeezed, and I had been feeling something in my spirit is now trying to fight me, trying to here we go again with me. This is what I was saying to myself, like, here you go again, not wanting to do what you're here to do, not really wanting to do it. And so there was a point in the down period where I realized, okay, this is something else. This is not just a breather. There's something else going on here with me spiritually, and I don't feel like, like I can stretch out anymore. I feel constricted. I feel confined, right? I feel off is just the best way to say it, And it took about 3 weeks for me to realize, okay, maybe I should go ask what's going on, because I thought I would just snap out of it. But then the snapping out of it didn't come when I thought it would, right? And so I said, okay, I got to get back to the thing. I got to get back to what makes me happy. I got to get back to what I love to do. You know what I'm saying? But yet I just wasn't feeling it. And so my mind was telling me one thing, but my spirit was in a different place. And so then I realized, all right, well, there's an imbalance here. You got to look at this. So basically what they were telling me and what they were showing me is that the reason why you've been unplugged for longer than you were supposed to be unplugged is because you have gotten out of alignment with your why. I was like, huh? But I understood immediately what they meant. You have gotten out of alignment with the why you do the things you do. You know you're called. You know you're chosen. You know you're purposed. You know you have a destiny. You know you have a work to do. You know that. But that doesn't immediately speak towards the why you do it. I don't do it because I'm called to do it, because that would be slavery, right? That wouldn't be freedom. That's another energy, but my why for the Mother's Daughters ITV, my why for each one of the playlists that I am curating, the initiates, sacred empowerments of the divine feminine, prayers of an awakened goddess, and anything else that my spiritual heart wants to create, desires to create, takes joy in presenting to the sisters and brothers around the world, to share this space. My why is not because I'm called to do it, because that feels like slavery to me. My why is because this is how I have chosen to honor the Most High, the all, the womb of creation. As a divine feminine emanation in this dimension, tapped into and understanding the divine feminine throughout dimensions, right? Understanding the Most High. See, this is the whole point for the spiritual growth and the studying and the researching and the reading and the meditating and the praying and the ancestors and the this and the that and the shadow work. This is the whole reasons for this, because you want answers. You want to know, you wanted to know who, what, when, and where. And because you are called, you have been given certain keys. And in that key, you recognize that the mother, the frequency of the mother, the frequency of the feminine, the frequency of the creator, the birther, the rebirther, the evolutionary power belongs to the mother. You recognize that. And in your recognizing that, you set out to honor her by creating a space where you can then reflect. This is the whole point for the channel. And I had gotten out of alignment with that altogether, and it started becoming about likes, clicks, views, the things, all the things, right? All the things. It started to become, how can I make the channel better? And how can I get, I wanted to grow and I wanted to do this, and how can I, And I'm doing all of the analytics, and and it's nothing wrong with any of that. It's not, it has its place, right? But it can't have its place if that's not your why. See, my why, I'm not trying to be popular. I really don't care. I'm not trying, nor am I focused on being popular in any arena, whether it's on YouTube, in my everyday life, or I wasn't like that in school, and I'm not like that now. I don't do the popularity contest thing, not because I don't feel like I could win it, but because it's asinine. It's absolutely asinine. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I have more talent, and I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna hold it. I have more gifts and talents in one pinky than most people have in their whole body, but I'm not finna be jumping through hoops to prove that. I find pleasure out of just being the best I can be. It's kind of like that mindset of I am my only competition. I am only here competing to see how I can raise the bar, with myself. That's how I kind of, walk to the beat of my own drum. You know what I mean? And so, with all of that being said, this is the 1% that has to be tended to, because the 1% of me wants to do the analytics and wants to, make sure it's growing and got the views, and okay, go over here to social media and we're going to play the social media game for a little while, and and that's the human and functioning in the false matrix, functioning in the matrix as just a physical embodiment, a person, you know what I'm saying? And this is the way the technology is running, and you got the algorithms and everything. You got to make sure that they are, you got to do certain things, you know what I'm saying, on these social medias to ensure your success. If your success on social media is what you want, and trust me, it is what I want, right? It is what I want, but it's not my why. And that's the difference, right? When I begin to create out of that lower vibration of trying to create something innovative so people will see it, they'll like it. I'm gonna go over here and do reaction videos to this and and I'm just creating to participate in the sportsmanship of it all. That works wonders for many people, and if I was to do it, it worked wonders for me too. I'm no different. I'm not any different. It would work wonders for me too, because that's the way this goes. You do certain things, and you have growth. But my channel was not designed for that. Me being on YouTube was not designed for that, and I had slid away from remembering that this channel is a direct reflection, a direct expression of my honor to the mother for what she has done through me, is doing through me, what she has shown me, how she has helped me with this transformation, how she is the transformation, she is the evolution. And coming from a past life, raised in the church, gave my life to the church at 18, became a preacher, teacher, prophet, evangelist in the church, right? There was a time where I didn't even know she existed. There was a time where I didn't even understand. I didn't understand duality. There was a time where I didn't understand, nor did I have knowledge of the other countless divine feminines who came before me. There was a time where I didn't understand that the matriarchal energy is more important than anything that we see and can understand. The matriarchal, the womb, the feminine, that power, right? There was a time in this lifetime. So when I say the past life, I ain't talking about 20,000 years ago when I was a nun or nothing like that. I'm talking about 20,000 years ago. I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I'm talking about in this lifetime, past life, raised in the church, raised apostolic, Pentecostal, holiness, gave my life to the Lord at 18, coming fresh out of high school, was completely devoted to prayer, read my Bible, studying, digging deep, devotion, and grew quickly into a preacher, evangelist, teacher, for a short while, pastor. There was a time where I didn't understand these things. And so as my spiritual awakening started several years back, they had to kind of spoon feed it to me, because I was so deep in Christian dogma. I was so deep in the devotion to something that I didn't even understand, but I understood it in the only way it was taught to me, which is very shallowly. Very shallowly. It's not wrong, it's just shallow, right? So, to go from being spoon-fed to here today, having this active, breathing, walking, talking relationship with the universe, with my ancestors, with the deified ancestors, with the mother, the Most High, with the great Olu, the son of the mother, the one who brings in the higher consciousness. With all of these, going from being this monotheistically minded person, though the Bible clearly shows that there are more, at your disposal than just this one God. It clearly shows that, right? No, we don't worship them all. We don't. The kicker is outside of the mother, there is none you should be worshiping. We honor them, but we don't do the bowed down, body bent, the false humility thing, and then get up and go right back into hell and right back into devilment. You know what I'm saying? We don't do the false repentive thing because we're trying to escape some sort of hell. We don't do that when we wake up. You know what I'm saying? Because we recognize, yes. And even last night when I was doing the reading, when it came through and they were explaining to me, you have left your why, and your why was and must be and must remain in honor of the mother. This is why you're doing this. When I move out of that space and I go into the space of the human and just creating for the sake of creating sake, just trying to keep up with the algorithm and keep up with the likes and keep up with the views, and when I move into that space, that is not the space that is the most authentic for me. That is not a space where I can psychologically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually hold myself up there. I can't. Because I'm truly not interested in that. Right? So, yes, I sat back in my chair. I was at the table, and I sat back and I asked the mother. I said, "Mother, please forgive me. Mom, forgive me. I'm sorry. I have gotten totally off." Because what they had to do was, when I asked them what was going on with me, they asked me, well, take your mind and go back to when you started feeling this way. And it took me back to about 3 weeks ago. I started launching a new playlist, curating a new playlist. And it was just going to be, kind of very easy on the spiritual. I was just going to do reaction videos and woo. And but my whole intent was to tap into a certain part of the algorithm, and you know how reaction videos can expand you because you're pulling from the audiences of other people and so on and so forth. And not saying I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it right now, but it's not saying I'm not gonna ever do it. But this is what I was gonna do 3 weeks ago, and I started recording these reaction videos, and then I just lost passion. Like I just got into a whole different vibration. And so I was sitting there last night, and they were showing me how that was the starting point. And as I'm pulling the cards, the first two cards that came out was the reverse Hangman and the reverse Strength. And people can say what they want about tarot. If you're a self-initiate, no matter what phase, beginner, novice, middle, no matter where you are, if you're a self-initiate, I would advise you to start reading tarot for yourself, which is what tarot is exactly. So it's specifically supposed to be for you to read it for yourself, but it has evolved into reading it for other people, and that's perfectly fine, and spirit is fine with that. She go along with the flow. But tarot is a wonderful tool to see what is going on with you. Okay? Tarot readers like myself who read for other people, it's kind of like everything else in the world. It only exists because some people won't take up the time to figure out how to do it themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we're here to help each other. We're here to serve each other. We're here to keep each other lifted up and empowered. So some of us have certain gifts and tools, but your gifts are needed because some people won't access them for themselves. That's the literal reason why you're gifted to do a thing. You're gifted to do it because not everybody is going to want to even be interested in doing it. Okay, so in order for us to not be without, Spirit gives certain gifts to certain people to be able to do it on behalf of others. So nothing wrong with it. But if you're self-initiating, please just ask the mother, ask Spirit, ask whoever you are walking with, okay? If it's a good idea for you to just go ahead and venture out, get your first little tarot deck. Don't be listening to these people. But you're a self-initiate, so you should already know that. All right? And don't be listening to these people, though, talking about is witchcraft and this don't listen to these people, okay? Everything is witchcraft. You literally live in it. You are existing right now. The physical realm is an enchanted forest. Literally. So you live amongst gargoyles, vampires, mermaids. You live amongst people who carry certain energies, and this is what the whole Disney World, Alice in Wonderland, this is where they got it from, because we all carry certain energies. And so you might run across somebody who got a little gargoyle energy on them, or a little dragon energy on them, or she over here, she a little vampiric energy on her. You live in an enchanted forest. So get over the whole witchcraft thing, because I don't care what religion you're a part of. I don't care what religion you're not a part of. If you are alive in the body, in this dimension, you have your hand in some form of witchcraft. Period. If you have ever wrote a book report, if you have ever signed a I love you letter, if you have ever written on a birthday card, if you have ever celebrated a birthday, if you have ever, there are things we do every day around the clock. All of these holidays is witchcraft. Your Christmas, your Halloween, your Thanksgiving, it's all witchcraft. Like politics is witchcraft. Listen, you're not going to be able to escape it, because this whole dimension is predicated upon the manipulation of matter. The microphone and the chair I'm sitting on right now is here because of witchcraft. Somebody took a tree, cut it down, turned it into something, boom, boom, boom. Manipulation of matter is witchcraft. So we had to get past all these little hang-ups and stuff like that. But to each his own, right? And I got off track a little bit. But the point that they were telling me last night was you had got out of alignment to your why. And so, and immediately when it came in, immediately I felt a weight lift from my spirit. Immediately I felt readjusted and realigned. Right? It is important for you to know your why when you do a thing. When you set out to do something. Your why is what grounds you and roots you and keeps you balanced and keeps you flowing in the vibration and the frequency that you need to be able to flow in, depending upon what you're trying to accomplish and the why you're trying to accomplish it. If you get out of that frequency, then the whole vision changes, everything changes. And this is also important. It speaks to the importance of laying down being true about your why, being honest about your why when you are laying down the foundation for something. Don't if it's for algorithms, likes, clicks, and views, then be truthful about that to yourself. Be honest about that. So this is not a one why is better or one why is more righteous, or I don't speak from those terms, you know what I'm saying, of those points of view. This is just about the honesty with yourself of your why is very important, because if you allow self-delusion, if you allow unhealthy ego to run rampant, if you allow a false righteousness, if you allow false humility, if you allow anything like that to try to convince you that your why is something greater than what it is, well, the universe is going to test you to live up to that. And it's really important to lay down an honest why and build a foundation on that. And honestly speaking, the only way I could even bring myself to participate in this YouTube world, in this spiritual community world, was because I was able to find my why. And my why was, I want to honor the mother through sharing with other people what she has revealed to me, what I have experienced, what I have seen, what I have heard. I'm not trying to debate anyone, or I'm not here. I want to create safe spaces for people because I forged a safe space for me, right? And as a self-initiate, you know what I'm saying? That was something that I had to just do. I had to just trust spirit that I was going to be safe as I explored, as I investigated the spiritual world, because that's what I'm here to do. And once I realized I was here to do that, then I felt even more safe. You understand? So I said, okay, I got it. I talked to the mother. I said, Mom, sorry. I don't even know. It's funny because one part of me felt almost remorseful. One part of me felt almost shameful that at my big grown spiritual age, I didn't see that subtle shift of the mind, and I didn't catch it. And I let it sit and linger long enough that I began to move out of the truest spiritual frequency that is true to me, and I didn't catch it. And I felt like, God, how could I let that happen? I kept saying, like, how could I not see this? How could I let that happen? I'm talking to the essence like it is, like, this is it, babe. This is what you're here for. It's nothing to beat yourself up over. We saw it, and so we basically put you in isolation until the isolation provided you the red flag. The isolation was the red flag. And it's not really the season for you to be in isolation. That's why it was a red flag. Because if it was a season for you to shut down and that felt right and it felt good, you wouldn't have had a red flag. But because it's not the time for that, you couldn't figure out why you feel like you just want to isolate. And so that led you to investigate the thing. Find out if it's some foreign influence, or find out if it's some foreign interference, or find out if it's coming from you. And lo and behold, it was coming from me. But the untimely isolation and the not wanting to come out of it was the red flag. And so they were like, it's not nothing to beat yourself up over. This is what we're here for. Because you are you and they are them. Okay? And you are you and you are them. And I had to remember my why. Why did I call my channel the Mother's Daughters ITV? Because that's not happenstance. That's not something I just pulled out of my ass. Everything that I have created thus far has been a direct extension and expression of my relationship to her, and in honor of that relationship to her. And anything I try to create is specifically in this arena. Anything that I try to create that doesn't honor that foundation will be brought quickly to a halt. Okay? Like, you about you could, because you are you, and you have your standards, and you have your spiritual perceptions, and you have what we have taught you. You have yourself, and you can't speak for anyone else, but this is the way you vibrate. This is your frequency. Your frequency is one that has to be really tapped into your spiritual evolution and spiritual growth, right? So I woke up this morning, and then I'm like, okay. First off, it took me a little while. I was up till 2:00 last night, because after the whole realignment and the whole message came in, it's like immediately I was like, oh, I'm back, bitches. I'm back. Let's get to work. And I was going to start doing some videos, but I was like, no. But I did take some notes and stuff on a video that I am going to do. But I was like, no, I'm going to just take these notes, do a little studying real quick, because it's like this exhilaration, all of my passion, all of my everything just returned in the blink of an eye. It just, everything that was holding me back fell off me, and so I got up this morning, and when I woke up this morning, I saw the hand of the mother, and she was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I heard recalibrate. And it reminded me of a conversation I had with one of my closest friends. She's literally my sister, not biologically, but we've been rocking with each other for so long, in so many different lifetimes at this point, that she's like my sister. But she's one of my closest friends, and there was a conversation, there was a download, a message that she received. She's a prophetess and very powerful woman, and she received a message from the Lord. Like the last year sometime we had this conversation, and she said the Lord was telling her about recalibration. And she was like, well, asking me, sis, what does it mean when you have to recalibrate the brakes on your car? Because the Lord's been talking to me about I keep hearing recalibration, recalibrate. And I said, girl, I don't know. But she's married to a wonderful man of God, and he happened to be home. And so I said, well, is he home? Because ask him, because he a man child. He know what a recalibrate or break mean. I don't know what that means. What is the Lord saying? And so she asked him, and he broke it down. And so he said recalibrating in his words, and I'm paraphrasing, but if I hope I remember this correctly. But he said recalibration has to do with the brakes. It has to do with making sure that the brakes are in alignment with the tires, and things are in alignment, so that when you go to push the brakes, they'll stop on time. They'll stop when they're supposed to stop, and things like that. And I was like, oh. So he was like, realignment has to do with your tires on the car, but the brakes, sometimes when you get tires replaced, or things like that, or you even when you put on new brake pads and so on and so forth, or if you get in an accident and they have to do body work, then they may have to go in and do a calibration on your brakes. And I was like, we both hit the floor. We was like, oh my God. And so I heard that word this morning. Shout out to Prophetess Chantel Perry. She's a powerful woman. I heard that word this morning, and I got to call her, because girl, I heard the word, girl, I heard it. And the mother was saying, this is what you periodically have to do. And it's not that you did something wrong, Yolanda. It's that, well, you did something wrong, but it's not that you should have any guilt or shame about it. You can't learn what is right for you without sometimes going down the wrong path. This is the whole reason why you honor the gods of the crossroads and things like that. This is the whole point of this. Okay, so when you're going down these crossroads and you're having these decisions you have to make, when you make the wrong one, the God of the crossroad is going to, he might, I ain't gonna get into all of that, but what I'm saying is he's going to get you back on the right path. Okay, and so I got up this morning. I said, I think I want to do an initiates and just talk to them about seasons of recalibration, seasons of getting into or being realigned, right? And so I looked up recalibration, right, or calibrating a brake, the brakes on a car. Okay, and it's just really, really dope that you can recalibrate a lot of things. It's not just the brakes on a car. You understand what I'm saying? But the brakes on the car fit this example the best. But it's talking about ensuring the brake-by-wire system is operating correctly and consistently. So see, the calibration has to do with not just the physical brake pads, but it also has to do with the wiring, the electronical part of the car. And when you push your brakes, it triggers not just the physical brake pads, but it triggers a lot of different things. There's a lot of components. Some of it is physical, like brake pads. Some of it is physical, but then therefore physical in a different way, like the wiring. Okay, the wiring in the car. Calibrating a brake-by-wire system ensures the system is operating correctly and consistently, that the brake pedals feel as expected by the driver. So when you push I didn't even know that. When you push your brake pads and you get that little when you push the brake pedal and it don't just drop down to the floor, but it gives you that little push back and pull. See, that's controlled by wiring. Now, see, I don't do cars. I don't work on cars. I drive them, but I don't work on cars. I know how to change a flat. And I know how to put some oil and some water in a car, and that's about it. I don't be knowing about all this other stuff, right? So the feeling of the brake pedal that we feel when we push the brakes, that sensory is so important to keeping us, that little mechanism of the feeling of the brake pedal. As subtle as that is, you don't often think about the function of the brake pedal, and the way it feels to your foot has a lot to do with whether you end up in a wreck or not. It has a lot to do with whether you're going to be driving down the road breaking everybody's neck jerking because you got lead foot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has a lot to do with how you drive the car, and that is controlled by the wiring. Okay, so what is Spirit saying to me this morning, and now I'm sharing with you, is that sometimes our wirings get off. And this goes back to what they showed me through the cards last night when they said you have to, one of the cards I have is a duality card, and at the bottom of it the inscription says you have to remember the dual nature of people. And immediately when I read it out loud, I heard the Spirit say, and you are people. And I was like, you're right, I am people. She was saying you have to remember your dual nature. Though you have your spiritual nature, though that is where you spend most of your time, though that is where most of your aspirations and your desires come from, there is still that human nature of you that thinks it's human. Okay, and that human nature will get into ego, will get into popularity contests, will be concerned about likes, clicks, and views and algorithms. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start trying to create from that space, Yolanda, that does not work for you. Your masculine does not function well when it is not receiving order from its divine feminine. And that's how I am wired. And so my job, my task is to remember that is the foundation that I stand on. That is the frequency. So she was like, you recalibrate, and we just recalibrated you, and you just went through recalibration, and you will recalibrate again. This is the me seeing her hand and her counting 1 2 3 4 5 6, as if to say, we do this a lot. You're going to have to do this a lot. You're going to have to recalibrate often. So this is not something you need to be ashamed of. Be grateful that you have the spiritual sensitivity to feel, to know, to see that something is off about you. You know, the brake pedal needs to travel further before the brakes engage. Signs that a car's brakes may need adjusting include: the brake pedal needs to travel further before the brakes engage. The brake light is on. The brakes make squealing, squeaking. Well, we know the brakes, man. We know when the car wobbles, vibrates, or pulses when braking. Fluid is leaking. The brakes feel spongy or soft. The car pulls to one side when braking. So basically, if these brakes are not in calibration, it's a nuisance. Everything is off. The car's not. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing in the area of your braking system, which means you can't stop like you need to stop. It doesn't feel right when you try to stop. You got to slam the brake pedal down to the floor just to come to a stop, and that can cause a world of other problems, because the braking system on a vehicle is hella important. So what I was hearing while I was reading this before I got on was, the brakes are designed to bring something that is in motion to a halt, or to slow it down. Either bring it to a complete stop or slow it down. Something that is on a journey, something that is traveling, the speed that it is moving at. The brakes are designed to either bring it to a complete stop or to slow it down. And so when your calibration mechanism is off, you'll be speeding, you'll be traveling, you'll be moving spiritually, you'll be moving as an individual, you'll be moving in a direction, and there's nothing to slow you down. The mechanism that is designed to slow you down is not functioning correctly, because maybe the direction you're moving in is not actually the direction you should be going. Maybe the speed at which you are moving is not the speed you should be going at. Sometimes Spirit has to slow us down. Sometimes she has to bring us to a complete stop, because you're headed the wrong way. You have to U-turn. Before the U-turn can be had, you must bring the car to probably a whole stop. You know, if you kind of drive a little crazy like me, and you see that the road is clear in front of you, on the side of you, and behind you, you might whip that mug on around. Just but either way, you got to slow down at least, right? But for the most part, to execute a proper U-turn, you do come to a stop, and then you do your U-turn, right? So this is what recalibration is for, and what it's needed for. When your braking system spiritually is not working properly, and you just racing down the road at 90 miles an hour trying to get to likes, algorithms, views, and subscriptions, as if that was your purpose. Now, when you on a race track, or you are on a street race, and you are racing to a finish line, then you really need the brakes to be working then too. But the speed that you choose to go at is a part of the journey, right? It's a part of the reason and the intent for driving this fast. But when you are trying to build something But when you are trying to get to a destination, and time is on your side, and it's not a competition. You're trying to get to a destination, and it's not a competition. Competition is not driving it. Then there's no reason for you to be going 150 miles an hour. Take in the sight. Slow down, child. You see that? You fuck around and being hit a 18-wheeler or got, if you live in Florida and one of them good hogs riding in front of you, you're going to have a problem. So you slow down. You don't speed through the stop signs. You stop at the red lights. You go on the greens. You abide by the rules of the journey, and those rules are set between you and your spirit team, you and who you deem to be the Most High, you and yourself. You set those rules. And for me, my rule was, in order for me as a divine masculine to be productive, I must stay in a place where I'm receiving instruction from my divine feminine. He cannot just go and get ahead of me and be trying to be out here doing whatever he want to do, and then looking back at the ancestors like, why ain't nobody? What's going on? Like, I can't work that way. I get bogged down. So I had to go through a little recalibration. So I just wanted to share with you that this may be something that you will periodically go through. And like I said, I did feel a little guilt, just, based on my relationship with the mother. I was like, my bad. And she was like, literally after I read the Queen of Swords reverse, which talks about when it comes to certain aspects of that card, it talks about how the matriarch of the family could be overwhelmed and burdened. And it admonishes the person who receives this card in the reverse to lift the load of the mom by first remembering her, honoring her, and giving her a helping hand. And that is literally how it read in the book. And so I was like, as soon as I read it, I was like, that's it. Immediately I heard Spirit say, there you go. And I said, I had gotten off. This is why y'all brought to me that one particular playlist that I was getting ready to curate, just to be able to expand my reach. That's not the point for my channel. My channel will reach who it's supposed to reach. It will, in its timing. It will. But from my heart, it was a devotion. It was a space where I can honor the things that I am experiencing as a spiritual being in my relationship with the Most High, the all of creation, the womb of creation. To call her a god would be an understatement. She's the mother of gods, right? So I was like, okay, I got you. And then a little shame sat in, because I was like, how could you not? Why did you not? And I was like, but it was like, don't be hard on yourself. And that's what I want to share with you. If you're going through seasons of recalibration, if you're going through, and you may not know that's what you're going through. Because I didn't know it for 3 weeks. I did not know it, child. I was like, what's going on? Because I don't feel like doing nothing. After about a week is normal, but for someone who has a task and things they need to be doing, it starts to get a little odd after about 2-3 weeks. You don't want to participate. And so you may not know you're going through a period of recalibration where your spirit team is having to slow you down. They're having to realign you, right? And even after you get in alignment, there's going to be more periods of realignment, because that is the dual nature that we are experiencing here as both spirit and body. The body is where the wiring that they was talking about on the breaks, the body, the mind, the brain, all of this wiring that we are hardwired with sometimes gets in the way with what the lighter side of us, which is the spirit side, wants to experience, wants to manifest, wants to create. The wiring gets in the way. The wiring is tripping us up. And so we have to go in with spirit, with our spirit team, and allow them to realign and recalibrate the wiring. So we begin to move along our journey a lot smoother. We begin to move through a lot smoother. We begin to move through it knowing that we're moving the right way and that our destination awaits us. We don't take the wrong turns. We don't have to do all these U-turns because we're tapped into the direction and the path we should take. And so just wanted to get on here and talk and share that with you. It was despite the slight shame and despite the slight regret that I felt, it's at the same time there was just overwhelming sense of, oh, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. And I am very grateful to my spirit team for assisting me. I'm very grateful. And as I become conditioned to be more aware of how I am wired, right? It won't take 3 weeks. It will take 3 weeks the next time I feel this way. It probably won't take any time at all. I'll probably be able to pick up that feeling of, oh, I'm headed down the wrong way. Let me evaluate my why. Make sure I'm not moving away from my why. And so that in itself I found to be beautiful. I found to be powerful, and I'm very grateful for the experience, and I'm very grateful to even have the ability to be able to investigate these things in a way that doesn't just cause me to have to beg somebody for forgiveness, for put on sackcloth and ashes until they decide they want to bless me again. It's an expanded view of your relationship with the Godhead, because you recognize that you are a part of that Godhead. They're not separate and apart from you. Okay? And so, yeah, recalibration. And so that's been my experience for the last 3 weeks. But I'm glad to be back. Let's just let you know what I'm saying. I'm glad to be back over this mug. I got a lot of content coming. Y'all know y'all about to get this work, because I'm back tapped into. I just want to share with y'all. I just want to, us to build this platform where we can sift through a lot of things and journey together and support each other and empower each other and even correct each other. Because look, I need y'all to, tap in. So if you have not tapped in, please take this moment to like, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone else, and hit that notification bell on your girl. You know what I'm saying? So you'll know when we're back with another one. I love you all. I appreciate you being here and giving me a listening ear. If you've made it to this point in the video, just know I appreciate you. Okay? I appreciate you. And I will see y'all on the next one, all right? Peace, family.